One of the most delicious things I can give you and tell you about her Council of Love global prayer practice is the story behind it. Do not think for a moment that Kathy and I just made this up and wrote it up and recommend you do it. No, there's quite the story behind this magnificent, very powerful prayer practice. So it begins with Archangel Lucy. Archangel Lucy, you ask? If you don't know who Archangel Lucy is, I have an intensive for you. You can go on my website and click on intensives and the ones that are on demand and click on Archangel Lucy and Archangel Michael speak. Oh, yes, they do. And they speak through my sisters on this beautiful story video. Archangel Lucy speaks to us through the magnificent voice of Freddie Giroux. Freddie is in Vancouver, Washington. Freddie's come to lots and lots of my events. And one day in 2022, she blurted out, I have this long, intimate 30-year relationship with Archangel Michael. Now, this didn't surprise or shock me because we all love and communicate with and pray with and just feel so protected by Archangel Michael. Now, I grant we might not all have a 30-year intimate conversation with Michael, but still, it was, oh, isn't that lovely? Until she said the next sentence. Freddie said, and he wants us to know that he has a twin sister, Archangel Lucy. What? And that was the beginning of an intimate, ecstatic, delicious, transformational relationship with both Archangel Michael and Archangel Lucy. Today, you get to hear a little bit from the voice of Archangel Lucy, Freddie Giroux, because let me tell you this now, this entire prayer practice is Archangel Lucy's fault. We would not be here. We would not be having this conversation. Kathy would not have painted the painting if Archangel Lucy hadn't given our beloved sister Freddie an assignment. And you get to meet Kathy Stevens Pratt. Kathy Stevens Pratt is not only a mystic artist and who has painted, and she'll show us the beautiful painting for her Council of Love, but she doesn't brag about this. She doesn't talk about it very much, but she's the voice of Archangel Michael. So welcome to this circle of mystics and angels as we share the story behind her Council of Love prayer practice. So Freddie, you want to kick this off with your assignment?
Well, back in November, on the 6th of November, the day after the election, I was just totally distraught and upset. Couldn't believe what had happened. And I'm chipping my teeth and probably cursing. And Lucy says to me, you need to pray for him and for all the people in Washington. And I'm going, what? So I'm sort of sifting this through my brain, thinking, I don't know if I can do this. And a couple hours later, I was out for a walk, and I'm still cogitating about this assignment, although she didn't say assignment at that time. That was later. It was directed to me, and I'm arguing with her that I didn't want to do this. This was just a horrible person. And she said to me something to the effect that, well, you and your group of ladies always talk about how we're all one. Now put your voice where your mouth is. Put your prayers where, that was it. Put your prayers where your mouth is. And I'm sort of gasping, and I'm finally saying, well, okay then. So with that, I wrote my own little prayer, and I actually talked about it with Apollo. And when I told Apollo that I'd been arguing with Lucy, he says, "You're the only person I know that would argue with an archangel." Well, I do this fairly often. So
your secret is out. Freddie is the voice of and wrestling partner with Archangel Lucy. And you're not the only one who argued, because I don't remember the date, but at one point in one of our many, many gatherings, you said that you had, and once again, she saved the word assignment for a little later in the story, but you said that she said that you and we are to pray for him. And I just opened my mouth and said, I can't even look at his face. I won't. And then I thought, shit, Janet, now you're arguing with Archangel Lucy, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And I guess you could say Lucy was patient. Okay, she waited until she told us we had an assignment, right?
Yes, somewhere around the end of February, 1st of March, the dates escaped me because I was in a lot of stress at the time. She said to me, "You do have an assignment, and you do have this group of wonderful women. So
And
get with it."
so you came to the next gathering and told us. And we knew that you were going through massive work and effort and change and shift and taking care of other people at this time. We knew you were utterly and completely exhausted, stretched beyond your limits, fighting with government agencies to try to get someone taken care of. So you said, and you were feeling kind of small at the time, and you said, Lucy says, I have this assignment. And the word assignment flew through the screen and just landed on me. And without thought, without argument, I just opened my mouth and blurted, no, you don't. No, you don't. If you have the assignment, we have the assignment. It's our assignment. And I think the minute that was out, I went, oh shit. Now what are we gonna do? Do you even remember? Was that relieving? How did you feel when
It was a big relief to me because I didn't have the energy at that time I was totally without any energy. I was just plodding from hour to hour to hour.
And I guess because I could see that and feel that, and I love you, I then contacted Kathy. Now, Kathy and I are always working on the next event in the witch sequence, the next event of this, the next prayer, the next this, the next this. And so getting on Zoom and having a chat about creating something is like what we do every day. So I don't know, and it doesn't matter to go back and go, and then this, and then this, and then this, but the two of us, we didn't ask you, you didn't have the energy of the time to come and play. We just took that assignment as our own and began to get our hands around what is now her Council of Love prayer practice. Now, I immediately, upon announcing that, okay, it's our assignment, the next thing, I don't think I said it in that gathering, but I said it to Kathy, I know what to do. I know what to do. I know what to do. And the reason I know what to do, and it is interesting because it has such incredible parallels to the way the United States of America is right now. In 2013, a federal judge sent my 24-year-old son to a high security federal prison in order to try to force him to name names of his fellow activists in Occupy. Charged with nothing, accused of nothing, no trial, no nothing. And my son spent his 24th year in prison. And I fell apart. you would fall apart too. And I didn't know Freddie and Lucy then, 2013, 12 years ago. But I did have a loving relationship with the masters and teachers of the Akashic Record, because if you've read any of my books, they're the ones who, through Laurel and Bunn, really got me to understand what writing down your soul is really all about, and how we are capable of receiving information from the Akashic Record and from anywhere in the universe. And so I turned through Laurel and Bunn to the masters and teachers back in 2013 in tears. I need some help. I need some help. My son will not name, he will not give names, but he is falling apart in prison. And they gave me the strangest instructions. But, you know, I'll do it because my son, right? And they said, get a picture of the prison, look at it for 5 minutes every day, and get a critical mass. They use that term, a critical mass of people to join you. And that was it. That's it. You showered, no words, no intention. Now, please hear me. No words, no intention. Excuse me, what do you mean no words and no intention? I want my son out of prison. That wasn't the purpose of the prayer. So any one of us could be holding a very specific intention for this moment in time. I would ask you, as hard as it is, to let that go. There is a much greater power, goddess power, divine feminine power, Our Lady of Freedom power, that sees the bigger picture. We just put ourselves in service to that. So even though I thought it was crazy, what do you mean there's no intention and no words? Do people know what you're doing? I just said, okay. And I went on Facebook. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, because today people are pretty open on Facebook and other social media about their political position and their perception of the mystic world. People will share. Nobody was doing that in 2013. And so I just took a deep breath and went, okay, okay. And I put up a picture of my son and said, he's in prison and I need people to look at a picture of the prison for 5 minutes every day at 11 a.m. 100 people around the world, from Hawaii, Mexico, Canada, the United States, England,
Mute.
France, Germany, Switzerland. I don't even know anybody in Switzerland. We all got together and stared at this god-awful picture of the prison for 5 minutes. That was it. That's the entire prayer. And 253 days later, out of nowhere, my son was released from prison. So I said to Kathy, I know what to do. And so we got together and I don't know what verb. We massaged the wording. We turned to Kahulahela for a form of Ho'oponopono, Hana'ikapono. And Kathy painted the perfect painting. So Kathy, bring us up to date with this evolution. That's not the right word. This surrendering to what Lucy wanted us to create.
Well, we've been working on different prayer practices for a couple years, and we knew that we had to do something. And I don't know. I mean, we just kind of listen and pay attention and feel our way into it. And I don't know, between us all, we sort of know what is going to feel right and what won't feel right. And I know I was at that time holding on for dear life to that statue on top of the Capitol, because a friend posted her back when the election happened, and right away I just thought, oh my goodness, I'm so happy that she's up there. I don't know anything about her, but she's kind of above it all, watching it all, hearing it all. And I don't know how she got into it, but
Well,
in my
and
mind,
she is
that's how.
so interesting because, you know, we think we know something about our country. When you brought her to my attention, I said, what? What
Yeah,
statue? What
most of us
statue?
haven't seen her. I had never seen her. And the people that I showed her to had never seen her.
Oh, and I've been there.
Right. We're right. We've all been there. We've walked around, we've done the tours. We've read the history, but we don't know her. But she's there.
And she's wild. She's
Yeah.
wild. And I guess this is why when you sent me, I think it was maybe journals, you included this postcard, this picture.
Yeah. Well, she was holding me together. So what I did there was I found the best photo on the web that I could. And then I made that background just to highlight her and give her that sort of crazy power, the colors behind her. I really liked her because she's feminine, right? Even though they say she has a helmet, I don't know. Does she really have a helmet?
Well, it's so interesting, and we encourage everybody to go online and start looking for it. They call her the Statue of Freedom. And Kathy and I went, no, 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 no. I am not calling this divine goddess the statue. So we renamed her. I trust it's okay. You could check in with Lucy, Freddie, that we are calling her Lady Freedom. So we looked at her. Look at her. They say that this is an eagle headdress, and of course it's hard to see on that picture, so go online for a close-up. And she even has eagle talons hanging out, and she's got a sword and a shield and a laurel wreath. I don't think you want to mess with Lady Freedom. And there she is on top of the Capitol building. So I think it just happened that you and I, because we get together and talk, and what do you think about this? And I said, would you paint? We need something because remember, the masters and teachers made us look at a picture of the prison. This isn't, looking at the wall and talking, it's this focus. We're getting people around the world to focus the power of their attention on a particular place. That's kind of non-negotiable for this prayer. So I said, Kathy, could you paint? So how did it happen that and of course I know that's always the answer to the question. It comes through you, but introduce the painting and tell us a little bit about it.
All right. So, well, this is a print of the painting, and this is what we're going to look at. And I don't know, one day you and I, we just decided it's going to be the Lady of Freedom, and she's going to be there on the Capitol. And we were also inspired by the Graceful Warriors, who I see myself as. They're angels and humans, and there was a dog in the picture, painted by Allison Knox, and she spoke. So this is kind of, just humanity. Um, and the interesting thing, you see there are little sort of rays coming out from below her beyond where the people are gathered. That is not part of the painting. That happened. It's it's Lucy's fault, we found out. It happened when I scanned and I went in. I do a scan and then I have to go back in Photoshop and clean things up and get little hairs or a piece of dust off. And I saw those lines and was like, oh my goodness, this is going to be so much work. And then I realized, no, those are supposed to be there. So I'm going to leave them in. Yeah.
Well, there's
And
such a perfect, if you go back to the masters and teachers instructions, so people around the world, this is not an American situation. So here we are around the world, and we can do it whenever our schedules, because there's no way we could come up with one time that works in Japan and South Africa and Paris. So once a day, wherever you are, you look at her Council of Love for 5 minutes. So imagine being the recipient of 500, 1,000, 5,000 people around the world looking at you, looking at your picture, looking at any particular picture. So those rays, it's so cute. You're such a great artist, but she knew something was missing. Because we did talk about the fact that as our attention of love permeates, it's her love, so Lady Freedom, and then it's like flowing down the Capitol dome. Well, then when you and I talked about it, we used the language mycelial. So everybody knows about the fungi and how they're interconnected under the ground. So we were visualizing her grace, her love, her power, her commitment to liberty and freedom and justice permeating the earth. And you didn't paint it, so she did.
Yeah, I've never had that happen before in a piece of art where what I scan was different than the art. The paper is as white at the bottom as it is at the top. So that's pretty special.
It's simply perfect. So then and this PDF is on it's right here on the page, printed out. So there she is, her Council of Love. So the prayer is simple. And Kathy and I played with it back and forth, but basically, you're going to do your invocation. I call everyone praying today. Be with me. Let us gather. And then we gaze at the picture. Here's this next section. And I want to reinforce again, no words, no intention, love, unconditional love. Your eyes become her eyes, the eyes of Mother Earth, Mother Gaia, Mother Goddess, Mother Freedom, Lady Freedom. And then this is the next piece, Hana Ikapono. And watch the teaching video that Lahela and I made about these 4 paragraphs, 4 sections in the prayer. So when I described the light to the prison, I said all we did was look at this horrible picture of the prison for 5 minutes. But actually, there was one more piece, but the masters and teachers told me to do it by myself. They said, don't tell other people about it. Okay. And they said, Janet, you will see, as you're looking at the picture, this black crud. This sounds awful, but they said it's going to look like lice coming off the picture. That's the anger, the injustice, the cruelty, right? And they said I would see it, and I was to say Ho'oponopono. And you'll hear on the teaching video from Kahalahela, Emma Kupu got permission from Kumu Karen to give me, a white girl she didn't know at all, the version of Ho'oponopono that the Hawaiians treasure, not the 4 sentences. So I get this little white piece of paper. I'm staring at the picture for 5 minutes. Sure enough. Now, it's creepy, awful, but how lovely too, that I could literally see the anger and cruelty and judgment and abuse and addiction and B. I could see it. And this is very important. They said it wasn't about the prisoners. I go, what do you mean it's not about prisoners? Excuse me, my son is one of the 900 prisoners. They said, no, when you shower this symbol, this prison, 12-story prison, you are impacting, her love is impacting the victims, the families, the cops, the lawyers, the judges. Suddenly, there's 900 prisoners, but I don't know, 25,000 people in some way, shape, or form. The cooks, the truck drivers, absolutely everybody in any way, shape, or form. Now, multiply that by what's happening in the world today. So maybe you'll see black cruddy, maybe you won't. Maybe you'll hear something, maybe you'll feel something, maybe you won't. But just know that this is proof that this prayer is releasing, changing, and we are very blessed to receive from Kahalahela a beautiful prayer to send all that black crud to be transmuted to the pathway of light. And then the last little piece, I think I was awakened in the middle of the night and kind of like, wake up, Janet, pay attention. Don't you know what to do? Contact Jennifer DeVille Catalano and ask her to record. And we don't know which bowls yet because the bowls decide. The bowls decide. They're alive. But the prayer will open and close if you follow the recording with the transmuting alchemical power of the bowls. So what do you think, Freddie? What do you think, Lucy? Are we obeying the assignment?
She's very happy. And she did say to me, I not only am responsible for the raise, but for the statue herself.
Of course you are. Right? Because she tapped on Kathy and got Kathy obsessed with Lady Freedom. So does Lucy have anything to tell us about Lady Freedom or about the prayer at all? We want to obey your assignment, Lucy. So if there's anything we need to know right now, we're yours.
What she's saying to me is, for her, this is a huge step, because when she first came to me, she was asking for me to help her be reinstated as the archangel rather than the devil, and that this is one of the major steps in that reinstatement.
Wow.
I'm
Wow. But I'm hearing what she's saying, not and so this moment in the world right now, which is sort of, you could call it demonic, right? It's so awful. And so by accepting this assignment, so once again, she asked you to help me reinstate her, but it's our assignment. We and everyone on earth who's ready to step in to restore the sacred feminine, the divine feminine, the angelic feminine, the holiness of the communion of the masculine and the feminine. That's what we need in this world, because we can see what it's like when the toxic masculine is functioning on steroids. I just connected those dots, Freddie. This is 1,000 times big. It already felt big, but now it's huge. How do you feel hearing that, Kathy?
Big feelings. Yeah, chills, tears.
So let's end our story, because our story, the world story, is her story. This is a very sacred moment in time. We have the opportunity to either just let the earth dissolve in pain and suffering and domination and greed, or we have the opportunity to participate, to be the voice, the eyes, the ears, the body of the restoration of Mother Earth as originally created and intended. I don't have any words for that. If Lucy wants to say anything, otherwise I'm just thinking, I'm going to put my one hand on my heart and one hand on my womb and ask Lucy to help us restore liberty, freedom, reverence, love, justice, and joy. Let there be joy.